My name is Colin Ashby, and in October of 2015, I was hiking alone through Miller's Ridge, a stretch of wilderness in the Pacific Northwest. I'd walked dozens of times before. I want to be clear before I say anything else. I'm not someone who believed in anything like this. I'm an engineer. I trust what I can measure. That changed completely over about 6 hours on a Tuesday afternoon. About 3 miles in, I found tracks that stopped me cold. Not deer, not elk. Something bipedal but far too large, sunk deep into the soft ground. Next to them, a tree trunk had long gouges raked into the bark, high above where any bear could reasonably reach standing on its hind legs. I told myself it was nothing. I kept walking. That was my first mistake. About an hour later, I saw it for the first time, maybe 80 yards off the trail. It stood upright, easily 8 feet tall, with a rack of antlers that looked less like a deer's and more like something grown wrong. Twisted, asymmetrical, tangled with what I can only describe as old vines and matted hair. Its face was long, almost horse-like, but the eyes were wrong, human-shaped. Watching me directly, I didn't run. Every survival instinct I had told me running was the wrong move. I backed away slowly, keeping it in my sight for as long as I could, until the trees swallowed it completely. I told myself I'd imagined most of it. I turned to head back toward the trailhead, moving faster than I wanted to admit. Within 20 minutes, I heard it again. Not footsteps exactly, more like something large, moving deliberately through brush, always just out of direct sight, always positioned slightly ahead of me no matter which direction I adjusted. It wasn't stalking me randomly. It was hurting me, and I didn't understand toward what. I came out of the tree line directly onto a rock ledge overlooking a ravine, and there it was, less than 30 feet away, standing completely still. Up close, I could see its chest rising and falling slowly, deliberately, and I understood in that moment it had been hurting me here on purpose. There was nowhere left to walk except toward it, or off the ledge behind me. I did the only thing I could think of. I threw my backpack as hard as I could off to its left, and the moment its head turned to track the motion, I ran directly along the ledge instead of toward the ravine's edge, cutting back into a narrower section of trees. It was too broad-shouldered to follow quickly. I ran for almost 2 hours without stopping, and I never once looked back. I reported it to a ranger station, and I was told, quietly and off the record, that I wasn't the first hiker to describe something similar on that ridge. I haven't hiked alone since. I still don't have a name for what I saw. I just know it was patient, and it was smart, and it let me leave that day for reasons I will never understand. My name is Rene Castillo, and this happened to me in the summer of 2019, camping alone near an abandoned rock quarry deep inside Ashwood Forest. I'd camped alone plenty of times before. I liked the quiet. That particular trip was the last time I ever camped without another person nearby. Around midnight, I heard something from the direction of the flooded quarry. A low, wet clicking sound, rhythmic, almost like something tapping stone underwater. I told myself it was frogs or fish or anything explainable. I didn't get up to check. I should have when I finally looked. Something was crouched at the water's edge, roughly my height but built wrong. Elongated limbs, skin that looked wet and gray even from a distance, and no visible hair anywhere on its body. Its head turned toward my tent, slowly, deliberately, and I saw its eyes reflect my flashlight beam back at me the exact same way an animal's would underwater. I killed my flashlight immediately and lay completely still inside my tent, listening to that wet, clicking sound growing gradually closer across the gravel. I remember doing math in my head, how far my car was, how long it would take me to reach it, whether zippers make enough noise to give away exactly where I was. The clicking stopped directly outside my tent wall. I watched, frozen, as something pressed against the fabric from outside. Long, thin fingers, testing the material the way you'd check if something was strong enough to hold weight. It never tried to tear through. It simply pressed, waited, and moved on to another section of the tent, methodically checking the entire perimeter. After what felt like 20 minutes, but was probably closer to 5, the sound moved away from my tent entirely, back toward the quarry's edge. I gripped my camping knife the entire time, though I've never fully convinced myself it would have done anything against whatever that was. I didn't move until the first hint of sunlight came through the tent fabric. I packed my entire campsite in under 10 minutes and didn't stop moving until I reached my car, nearly a mile away. I never went back to check what left those tracks, though a park employee later mentioned when I described what I'd heard that swimmers had stopped using that quarry years earlier for reasons no one at the visitor center liked to discuss in detail. I still camp occasionally, but never near standing water and never completely alone. To this day, I have no explanation for what was testing my tent that night, only that it was patient, methodical, and, for reasons I still don't understand, ultimately decided to leave me alone. My name is Marcus Webb, and what happened to me took place in the fall of 2021, hiking with my dog Rufus through Hollow Pine Forest just before sunset, a trail I'd walked with him probably 50 times before without a single strange incident. Rufus stopped dead about 2 miles in, hackles raised completely, growling at a section of forest that looked, to me, like nothing at all. He'd never reacted to anything on that trail before. Not deer, not other hikers, nothing. I trusted his instincts more than my own eyes in that moment. That's when I heard it, my wife's voice, calling my name from somewhere deep in the trees, the exact tone she'd use if she were worried about me. Except my wife was at home, 40 minutes away, and had no reason to be anywhere near that forest. The voice called again, closer this time, still using her exact inflection, still calling my name. I made the mistake of calling back once and immediately regretted it. The voice adjusted its direction instantly, moving with unnatural speed through brush that should have slowed down any normal person. Rufus bolted without me, something he'd never done in his life, disappearing down the trail toward the parking lot. About 40 yards off the trail, I finally saw it directly. Tall, too tall, with limbs slightly too long for its frame, and a face that looked almost human, except the features seemed subtly wrong, as though built from memory rather than direct observation. Its mouth moved, and my wife's voice came out again perfectly. Calling my name one final time, I ran, without thinking, cutting directly through brush instead of following the trail, guessing that whatever it was relied on the open path to move efficiently. I could hear it behind me for almost a full minute, moving through dense trees, far faster than it should have been physically able to. Before the sound finally faded completely, I found Rufus waiting by my car, completely unharmed, as though he'd known exactly which direction led to safety the entire time. I sat in my driver's seat for almost 20 minutes before I trusted my hands enough to drive. I called my wife the moment I got signal, and she confirmed, exactly as I already knew, that she had been at home the entire evening. I haven't hiked that trail since, and Rufus refuses to walk anywhere near that section of the park, even from the parking lot. I still don't have an explanation for how it knew my wife's voice so precisely, or why, after everything, it let both of us leave that forest alive. These are stories inspired by real hiker folklore and wilderness disappearance legends. If these stories affected you, subscribe for more. And if you have a story of your own, send it to me. It might be the next one I share.